What's good, y'all? It's your boy Black. Shit. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Blak G 92. Now, for this evening, I'm going to go ahead and do a reaction to Blue Chippers, Wrestlers with Huge Potential, another 18-minute documentary made by great YouTuber, Wrestle with Andy. And shout out to the two people that requested me to react to this video. So I'm going to see what the documentaries look like in about 3, 2, 1. And by the way, it's going to be split into two parts. I'm going to watch the first 10 to 11 minutes of the documentary, then like cut that part out, then watch the remainder of it in another day. Let's get it.
Any promoter worth their salt should always be on the lookout for up-and-coming stars they can replenish their current roster with.
Yep.
After all, no matter how good your product is, the talent is always going to be the lifeblood of the industry. And sure, WWE has been criticized for not building enough new stars over the last couple of decades. That said, with Triple H now running the show, it's meant a whole crop of young performers have been able to start their rise to the next level. But who are the biggest examples of this? Well, join us today as we take a deep dive into Blue Chippers, wrestlers with huge potential.
Let's get it. Let's see who's all the up-and-comers.
With this topic, where better to do so than with one of the most promising up-and-comers on the entire WWE roster today, and that's Solo Sikoa.
I've heard his name
It's hard to believe that
a few times.
A year ago, Sikoa was still on the NXT 2.0 roster trying to prove himself as being deserving of the spot.
Wow.
But that's exactly what happened, and luckily, he didn't have to try hard to get the respect he deserved.
I bet.
Him being a member of the Anoa'i family, it all came pretty naturally. So when the Bloodline needed a new member to help Roman Reigns get a win over Drew McIntyre at the September 3rd, 2022 Clash at the Castle event then, it was this young rookie they looked to. And that turned out to be a great decision, as after costing Drew the victory that night, Solo quickly established himself as the silent heavy of the stable, one who no one dared mess with, lest they feel the wrath of his Samoan Spike. Seriously, so feared did the Sacramento native become in such a short space of time, it felt like no one would ever be able to beat him. And that very intimidation was what helped him go on a 7-month-long winning streak, with his first
Sounds about right.
coming until Cody Rhodes managed to pin him on the Raw before WrestleMania 39. That said, such a loss didn't keep Sikoa down for long, because at the showcase of the Immortals just a few days later, he gets some measure of revenge by helping his tribal chief Roman Reigns to score the victory over the American Nightmare in the main event. And since this point, no one else has been able to get the better of him again, a fact which will likely continue to be true for some time to come. Hell, at this rate, with the Bloodline just as strong as ever, we wouldn't be surprised if the rookie isn't tasked with going after some singles gold soon, whether that be in the form of Austin Theory's United States title or Gunther's Intercontinental Championship. But there's always the chance he might choose to just bypass this entirely and go straight after a larger prize instead, with that being the new World Heavyweight Championship. And if he were to win this one, we can only imagine the issues it might cause in the Bloodline's locker room, as the tribal chief has to be well aware his run on top can only last for so long, and that someone like Solo Sikoa ultimately represents the future of where WWE is going. That said, he's not the only person on the roster who represents the future of the company. No, someone we've mentioned here has also been pegged for big things in the years to come. Who are we talking about here? Why, Austin Theory, of course. Sure, he may have his detractors, but regardless of how you feel about him as a main event player, it's undeniable WWE see a lot in the Georgia native, as ever since
from Georgia.
NXT, he's been presented as
Now, what part of Georgia are you from? Okay, guys, a Georgia native representing. Okay, I see you.
watch. After all, it was down on the black and gold brand that he first aligned himself with the Way and regularly proved to be an ace in the hole for the stable. Then when he got his proper main roster call-up in 2021, he'd quickly be given a storyline where Vince McMahon took him on as his own personal protege. And while this storyline later had to be aborted, it just showed how much potential the boss saw in the rookie, as it's not very often he gives someone his own personal stamp of approval. So not wanting to waste this, Theory has since gone on to find main roster success by not only winning the 2022 Men's Money in the Bank ladder match,
That's recent.
becoming a 2-time United States champion as well. And with his second
Impressive.
reign, even seeing him score a pinfall victory over John Cena at WrestleMania 39, it seems the sky really is the limit for his future in the company. But what of the man he once called a leader? Surely he must have just as bright of a future ahead of him too? Well, to that we say yes he does, because when you're talking about Johnny Gargano, how could it be any different? And sure,
These damned commercials. And as far as the PS5, I might get that probably sometime. Looks cool, but I want to watch the main video. Sorry, Avatar.
we know Johnny Wrestling isn't exactly a rookie. After all, he's long been a veteran of places like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Evolve, and Chikara, just as he's already served a spell as the heart and soul of NXT. Hell, to this day, he probably has the best feud in the history of the Black and Gold brand alongside Tommaso Ciampa, but one place he hasn't been able to prove himself yet has been the main roster. Not that he should have any trouble doing this in time, though, as still just 35 years old, Gargano is only now reaching his prime. And given how good he's been up until this point, it's scary to think how much better he might get. After less than a year on the main roster, in fact, he's already established himself with fans as a babyface to watch. Sure, his feud with The Miz wasn't exactly the highlight of Triple H's run with the book, but at the very least, it's given him a chance to show he can make it on Raw, if given the chance. And with him now firmly a main roster guy, who knows what the future will hold? Will he reignite his feud with Tommaso Ciampa? Or will he just move on from this entirely and instead decide to go after some singles gold? Given his skills in the ring, it really is up to him just how high he rises. We wouldn't even be surprised if over the next year or so, he gets to go after that new World Heavyweight title. That's as long as Vince McMahon doesn't veto things, of course, because as we know, smaller guys aren't exactly the boss's forte when it comes to who he likes to push. Still, he has been persuaded before, as was the case with Shawn Michaels in the 90s, someone who Gargano has often drawn comparisons to. So hopefully he'll be able to overcome this hurdle if it becomes necessary then. That said, one person who won't have to overcome such a hurdle is someone Johnny Wrestling has been closely associated with on Raw as of late, and that's the mountain of a man that is Bronson Reed.
Definitely fits the description.
He checks every box WWE has ever wanted of a heel monster. After all, he's big. He's
damn.
And he can
He's big as fuck.
Sure, this fact may not have been as evident during his first run with New York between 2019 and 2021, where he never got beyond NXT. That said, anyone still saying this after seeing his run in New Japan Pro Wrestling needs to get their eyes checked, because there, not only was he a standout of the 2022 G1 Climax, but on top of that, he actually scored a clean pinfall victory over Kazuchika Okada. So with such a feather in his cap, it's no surprise that Triple H wanted him back once he took over creative control of WWE soon thereafter. And with him already having a pre-existing relationship with the Australian following their time working together on the Black and Gold brand, this made the whole process a lot easier, and meant that come December of that same year, Bronson Reed would be on Raw, kicking ass and taking names. And that's where he remains to this day, still mowing his way through the mid-card, patiently awaiting the chance to rise up the ladder further by winning some gold.
Yeah, I might have to tune in next year then.
If we had to guess, we'd say sooner rather than later, as given he's accomplished so much already elsewhere, there really is no time to waste building him up from scratch again. Now, we see secondary gold in his immediate future, probably before the year is out. And after that, who knows? Whether it's Triple H or Vince McMahon in charge, we don't imagine he'll be hurt by this either way. No, we wouldn't be surprised if he was challenging someone like Roman Reigns eventually and attempting to take the WWE Universal title away from him. Of course, he will have some people nipping at his heels throughout this period, however, as they each attempt to reach such a level too. And one of the foremost of these is Matt Riddle, because with him already having gotten his shot at the Tribal Chief once before and coming perilously close to beating him then, he must know if he gets the opportunity again, he could very well walk away with the big one.
Yeah, if he's able to take on someone that big, hey.
This Pennsylvania native can sleep easily at night, knowing he's one of the toughest men on the roster. Really, the only people we reckon could challenge him one-on-one would be Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, or Chad Gable. And while this hasn't always translated well in terms of a big push for him in WWE, over the last couple of years, something has shifted as he now feels like a person who could be a world champion one day. Yes, he always had the potential to do this, but with him apparently pissing off some of the wrong people backstage, this made such an eventuality seem like it would be unlikely for a while. Ever since teaming with Randy Orton in mid-2021, though, it appears he's not only won over the right people, but he's also gained a whole new dimension to his character.
That's what's
which
up.
has helped fans fall in love with him on a grander scale. So with all the pieces now slotting into place, Riddle really could be a future player on either the Raw or SmackDown brand. And that could mean winning a world title just as easily as it could mean doing what he's been telling us he'll one day do for years, and that's retire Brock Lesnar. Of course, this may seem like a big ambition as it currently stands, but someone is eventually going to have to put the beast down for good. And really, if you think about it, there are few, if any, with better legitimate credentials to believably be that person than Matt Riddle. But such a moment is likely still a ways away yet, as Lesnar probably has years left ahead of him. And by the time he's ready to hang up his boots, another blue chipper will have probably reached his true form, as while he's still in the tag team division right now, the endgame for Montez Ford feels like him being a major singles star. Sure, it would be nice to have a team outside of the New Day or the Usos who remains a unit for their entire run, but sometimes, when someone has so much potential, you just have to bite the bullet and go with it. And Ford definitely has a lot of potential to him, something which can be seen each and every week as he comes out on Raw alongside his Street Profits tag team partner, Angelo Dawkins. Not that Dawkins isn't good too, however. No, he clearly has a lot to offer himself. But if you watch any of their matches, you can tell right away which one is the Shawn Michaels of the pair, and it's not the one from Ohio. Yes, not only does Montez Ford have both in-ring skills and bucket loads of charm to help him stand out, he also has the fact that, with him being married to current Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, he's part of a legitimate backstage power couple.
All right.
So it would only make sense that once he finally
that's a major cloud. Okay.
And move on to a singles career, he gets himself into a program with someone like Seth Rollins, as this would allow Bianca and Becky Lynch to also play a role. And if he earns a big-time win over someone as good as the Architect in the process, it would really only be a matter of time before Ford reached a higher level again and went after the world title itself. We're not saying this is going to happen next month or anything, but given how obviously skilled he is, it feels like an inevitability that it will happen eventually. And when it does, WWE will have a true superstar on their hands because there aren't many people on the roster today who can do what he does with quite as much swagger. That said, it's taken Montez Ford years of training to get to this point, just as it has done for almost everyone else on the roster.
Okay.
For some lucky few, though, they just seem to take to the ring like a duck to water.
Right. Oh, Logan Paul. That dude, man. I won't even say unbelievable, but it's something you don't expect, like a famous YouTuber.
Yes, you simply can't deny that only 5 matches into his run now, he's proven he can hang with the best of them.
Now, I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here, but yeah, it's still kind of baffling that a famous YouTuber is able to transition into the world of wrestling, professional wrestling. That's still something that's like almost you don't see every day, but apparently I guess he got the chops to do it. You look like he's taking it serious based on that little screenshot that I had managed to see based on my pauses. So this is gonna be part 1, around 11-minute, 25-minute mark. I might rewind it and then rewatch it in the second part, which is gonna be the last 7 to 8 minutes of the video. So hope you enjoyed this first half, and if you want to watch more of these videos, be sure to hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that donation link to my Cash App. We post in the description box below. And if it's your first time watching this reaction video, be sure to hit that. Yeah, I already said it. If it's your first time watching this reaction video, do the same like I mentioned. And also, before I even before I even, that's when you know you've been working somewhere for way too fucking long, which I'm gonna mention more in my live stream because they're on some bullshit right now, and I like to express it. But anyway, yeah, they got impressive roster of who's about to come up, be the next superstar, like in the later years of the 2020s, the mid to late 2020s. So I'm definitely gonna tune in and see what matches come on and all that good shit. Even though I don't have regular cable, I just have apps, you know. So I'm gonna see what matches on with any of the names on there, and I'm very interested, you know what I mean. And plus, I'm impressed about who's on the roster as well, and who's be the up and comers, who's gonna be the next stars, and all that good shit. And also, but anyway, this is your boy Blak G 92 about to sign off. Holla, your boy. Peace.